I've been talking a lot about culture, the most predominant, like Christianity, and of course, Norse, and then I brought in some Buddhism and some Zen. Um, Now I want to shift gears because I am a therapist too, and talk about one of the biggest things. Well, I woke up this morning going, one of my biggest pet peeves is when cultures, especially here in the United States, um, socially they forced an apology. Like you would hear them say, hey, you did something wrong to somebody, you need to say sorry. And I've gone through schools over and over, and whenever I hear somebody or a teacher or a parent say, hey, go say sorry to that kid, I usually stop them and say a few things. So there's a criteria when it comes to sorry. First of all, we're forcing kids or other people to say sorry when they may not be sorry. And I think the mythology behind that, or the rationale, was to increase empathy, but also compassion, to show, oh, we're a good person, so we should say sorry. But we watered it down because there has to be a follow through when you say sorry. So a lot of my clients that come in, even kids, most of the times kids do, no, they just want me to say sorry to make them feel better. Or the teacher forces me to say sorry. And this is where it got me when I was having a disagreement with another colleague, or it wasn't even my colleague. I was trying to instruct and incorporate an intervention that I was asked to do during a grant. And a teacher did not like that, and was really, really kind of snarky for months. And the principal of that school wanted to sit us down and have a collaborative conversation. And she said, well, I would like you to apologize to each other. And that's where I stopped. Everyone. And I said, I'm not sorry for anything because I didn't do anything disrespectful. I'm trying to incorporate an intervention. So why do I need to apologize because that person got offended or didn't like me? It's okay that that person didn't like me. I don't need to apologize to increase her or beg for her to like me. I've been paid to do a job. And of course, that teacher did apologize to me, that they felt bad for the thing. And I asked them, are you really sorry? Because sorry has to come in a criteria. So here's where I go. So I did this one just last week before for a whole family, because I asked, this is where I'm going to stop and I'm going to pause for a few minutes. I'm going to ask you, how do you apologize to another person? Okay. How do you apologize to yourself? Did you know there's a process? So here's where I go. Is if, we're going to go with scenario one. If, and these are therapeutic interventions that I do, I actually teach these, is because it comes in 3 stages when you do it. And then the fourth, you need a ally or a support in that. So here it goes. First of all, you have to recognize, are you sorry in this situation? Because there's 2 different types of conversation styles. There's one different type if you're not sorry, and then there's another type. So we're going to focus on the one that is, and then I'll tell you how to do it when you're not. So if you feel sorry, say number 1, yes, I actually am sorry for doing that. You could apologize with, I'm sorry I did that. Or I'm sorry, my bad. Those are all kind of types of sorries. Oh, that's on me. Those are different reframes, but they're still an apology. However, you can say that, but then you need to follow up what you were sorry for, or what was your bad, what was your mistake, or you view it as a mistake, because mistakes, again, are lessons, right? Unless it's intentional, and that comes in another form. And then you say, I'm sorry. So let's say scenario 1, and this is the one with the teacher and me, is that teacher said, I'm sorry that I was calling you names and kicking your stuff down the hall. Because that was true. That happened. And I thought, well, if you're a teacher and you can do this to another adult, what are you doing to the students? I'm not going anywhere now. And so that one apologized and said, I'm sorry for kicking your stuff, calling you names, spreading rumors about you. And I said, okay, that's great. So then, first of all, number one, that was an apology. It was with a sorry. Number two, they said what they were sorry for, and they gave me a list of everything that they did. And that's where it stopped. So then I go, and how are you planning on changing that? How are you going to fix it? That is a proper apology. The third part is the proper apology. How are you going to try? We're not perfect. Everybody is navigating this journey, rearranging, trying to shift gears, which pockets belong with them, which one doesn't. But the third part is, if I truly felt sorry, I'm not going to want to do that again. So how are you going to put in a place or a plan to never do it again? That's the proper apology. And that stumped her. But that's not how we were taught to do apologies. We say we're sorry for what we're sorry, and you just automatically forgive. And that's not how the world is. Because inside, that's not how it works. Everybody else thinks that that's okay. That makes them feel good. Oh, we did our job. We fixed it. Oh, they said sorry. It's gone. It's out of the wind. But internally, every one of you know that's not how it works. So the third is, how do you make the change? So then they have to reflect. They actually have to do some reflection. Process. Right? Deductive, inductive reasoning, and come up with a plan of how to set themselves up so they won't cause this destruction again. If you're truly sorry, you're going to try to do what you can to not cause that again. And then you come up with a plan. And then the fourth is, please be patient with me. I'm going to recruit allies to help support me in it. Hey, you promised that you were going to try to do that. A sorry is always with a plan. Okay? So that's the sorry. I did the same thing with the family, because I asked the family, because they constantly are, well, they say sorry and then they expect to get their stuff back. So I had a family come in and they said, well, this kid keeps saying sorry, and then they're expecting, once we put them on restriction, that they get their tablet or their phone back. And I was like, well, how do you say sorry in your family? Oh, we just say I'm sorry. And then you think everything's going to be okay. Well, yeah. I was like, well, why aren't you giving the tablet and the phone back then? They said sorry. Well, because I don't believe that they're really sorry. I said, well, how are you going to believe that they're sorry? They need to say they're sorry, and they have to actually really be sorry. They need to say what they're sorry for, and then they need to say, how am I going to make it different so I can earn that back? That's when the family was like, oh, we don't even do that. I said, well, then guess what? New family rules. We're going to practice, and you two parents are going to be the role models. So practicing how to properly say sorry, because you shouldn't have to do it that often. You should not have to apologize that often, because if you're constantly reflecting on your behavior, you'll never redo that. The pattern won't continue. Now here it goes to the second part, is if you're not sorry, because that in itself can be a change or a reflection of behavior. So if somebody says, look, let's go in that scenario like me, when I was with that teacher, and this principal wanted us to say sorry. So I think she felt, well, I did my job. I brought them together. There was a dissonance. There was a fight going on, which I didn't even understand because I wasn't even involved in it. It takes two to fight, but apparently the rumors were that I was like this chaotic person. I was just putting in rules. I mean, the state gave me the power to do it, so I had to, and they just didn't want to, and that was the difference. And so the principal wanted something to seem like she had done her checkbox or whatever, and this is how the society and the culture keeps resetting the pattern, and then not understanding why nobody actually is changing, and we keep recycling, redoing the same thing over and over and over again. It's because nobody's actually, well, they don't have to be sorry, but there can always be a change in behavior without sorry. So here it is. And there was a change, by the way. And well, there's a therapist that did it. So when it comes to that, I wasn't sorry. So I would say, I'm not sorry, but maybe I would be clearer the next time of my job and my role, so I wouldn't be off-putting to you. You see how that reflection was? Because the second that they said, oh, I did this and I did this because, and I plan on doing this, it first had to come like that. Then my turn was, I didn't feel sorry. I'm not sorry. I'm not sorry for going in and doing my job because I was told to do this. I am not sorry that you got hurt and your feelings got hurt because I am not in control of those. Here's where the change is. So when you're not sorry, you just say, I'm not sorry. And you say, why? Because they had already told you why they think that they're mad or they're upset. You say why you cannot be sorry. And then you say, well, I will try to be a little bit more clearer, but I will give your space because you do not have to talk to me or like me. And then the fourth is, however, I do have to do an ally. You have to do, if this is part of the deal, is you still have to do what the state is telling you to do because you are a state employee. And so that where comes those, when it comes to I don't want to apologize. Now, let's take a kid situation or a person that doesn't have a power hierarchy in it. So let's say two kids fighting, right? And one punches the other, because this is a scenario I had a couple months ago. One punches the other, and this kid says, I'm not sorry. That kid should be sorry because that kid kept punching me, grabbing me, pushing me for months. And I turned around and I punched them. I got in trouble. I'm not sorry, but they were trying to make me say sorry. The school was telling me I need to say sorry. And this is where it kind of is like I stopped them. The areas that I work in, they slowly are starting to pull back and understanding what you're doing is not really helping. It's actually causing people to own emotions that are not theirs. And then it increases bullying. It really does. So this person, I helped coach them, and we did. And we went into and we told this other kid with the whole teachers and stuff, and told them, I'm not sorry that I punched you, because for months I've asked you to stop touching me, kicking me, spitting on me, and throwing my stuff and calling me names. And the third one was, I plan on putting up a different set. Is the next time this happens, I'm going immediately to the principal or a higher adult that's going to help me, because you're not going to do that to me anymore. I have a right to defend myself. So no, I'm not sorry for punching you. I wish it never happened, but I wish you would have stopped doing that to me first. So that's where an apology is a non-apology works, because not everybody has to be sorry. Now, there are times that I have people like, I'm not sorry. I don't like that person, so I just want to poke. So then I have to work on something different. Is if you don't like that person, then why do you keep going around them? You don't have to be sorry for hurting them, but you do have to take accountability that you keep putting yourself somewhere where you don't want to be. But when it comes to sorries, this is only going to be focused on the sorries, is a proper apology has to come in 3 phases. And that is the apology and what you're apologizing for. How do you plan to make that different, and who and what support you need to do on it? And if you're not going to apologize and you don't feel you owe an apology, you still have to do the I'm not apologizing, announcing that for doing whatever behavior they're saying it is, and then rationalize why you chose to not apologize, and then put in a barrier or ally of what you choose to do differently if that ever comes up again. And those are proper apologies. And as a culture, we have defined and watered down apologies. It has weakened it. It's like the, hey, how are you thing. When people go around and they say, hi, how are you? They really don't want to know how are you. It's just customary and culturally of hi. But it's really, how are you? Some people will shock you and they'll be like, are you really interested? It's lost its power to say, I'm sorry or my bad, if you don't start using it properly, because you shouldn't have to use it that much. And we are using it so much. It is such a weak statement. But when you use it in 4 characters like I did, and I'll post them down there of how to properly do each one, it really, there's an energy that comes out as unconditional compassion. There's a compassion and empathy, and the kids that I work with and the families I work with, that really can be the shift changer in their patterns of destructions and the constant fighting. That usually shifts it. And it's just a simple conversation. You have to own your part and then come up with a plan of how to do it differently, or to recruit support or show love. And so that's where I'm going. So I know I've been following a lot of cultures on my last set, but I'm going to put in playlists, and this is going to be more of my therapeutic interventions. And this one's all about how do you say a proper apology. All right, bye.